Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the rise of the microbrands.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch
All right, well, today we're hoping we're going to have product photographer Taylor Boone on. Taylor is a professional photographer and she tells story through her lens. However, we're having some technical problems, so I don't know what's going to happen. Usually I would be in the fetal position by now, but Kelsey says everything's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Where are you, Kels?
That's right. Just like Bob Marley always says, everything's going to be all right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Mark, Marcia. I believe that's Marina. Welcome. So we got a few fun things going on. Daniel from Brazil, welcome. It's always good to see you. Yeah, let us know where you're from, where you're watching from. It's always great to see where in the world our Beard Nation. I got this new term. It was because of Marcia a little bit, but beard buddies. I think that
Beard
was
buddies.
yeah. I misread one of Marcia's comments the one time and saw beard buddies, and I
Beard
think it's really
buddies.
cute. We're all a bunch of beard buddies. But yeah, welcome everyone. Get those smash those like buttons. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. So if you're watching on a replay, that's you. Subscribe, hit that button, ring that bell. Let me see. We do have a prize today. Taylor is having some technical issues, but we're hoping she's able to get around it. But we'll see. But in the meantime, if you guys have any questions at all for the Beard Guy or for me, you can put it in the comment section and we'd be happy to answer your questions. Looks like we got England from Simon. I got to check my Facebook group. But yeah, how's
Hey guys,
everyone's?
until Taylor comes on, why don't we just do an improv here? Does anybody want to come on live and
Looks
ask
like
any
we got
questions?
England.
What the hell are you
Yep.
doing, Kels?
Sorry, I was joining the group. I want to make
Okay,
sure we got everyone. Okay, so we got Clive from Scotland. There we go. Very nice.
perfect.
Yarrow. Hashtag beard buddies. Let's do it. Faye,
Okay,
welcome
so we do
everyone.
have a question from Dr. Cause. What is Norm's daily routine? Okay, we can start there. So, and we could talk about productivity today if you like. One of the things that I try to do, I've done this for years. I don't know where I learned this from, but it is to start the night before. So before I go to bed, Kelsey knows this, I'm up late, but before I go to bed, I always make sure that I have my day planned for the next day. Now, whether that happens or not, that's a whole different story. But I usually try to take, 20 minutes to a half hour to figure it out. Maybe it doesn't take that long, but I use Google Calendar. I'll go over and I'll just plot it out, and anywhere from the I'll have somebody a VA that goes into my inbox at night and sorts all my email. So they'll come in and they'll see like all the spam email, or if they're not sure, there's a legend of colors. So if I see a purple question mark, okay, we don't know what that is. I have to take a look at it. But we'll either go through and we'll see whether it's something that can wait. We have red stars, we have red exclamation marks, which is urgent. Red star is important. Red exclamation mark is urgent, important. Those are the ones I got to get on for sure. But anyways, the bills are green, and if they're paid, they have a green exclamation mark. There's a whole series. Anyways, they go through it. There's one lady does, and then at 8 o'clock, she meets up with an executive assistant that kind of takes over at that point. They spend about 15 minutes together, maybe a half hour. Then I get on at 8:30, kind of go through everything. So my day starts at 8:30. Spend a half hour with an EA and just kind of plan everything. Next thing I'll do is go through my priority. So it's top priority, whatever that is, it gets done. I try to turn off as much communication as possible. That's what the executive assistant is for. So I'll turn off using, typically it's freedom.io or we use Franz, and Franz is Franz. And it's I think Victor's on. I think I saw him. Anyways, I think he uses it as well, but it's a communication tool which channels everything. You know how much distraction there is in your day when you have to look at Skype, or if you have to look at Slack or Telegram or WhatsApp. It's just complete distractions. And every time you start, and this happens all the time, you'll hear ping, ping. I'll be on a call with somebody and I'll hear the distractions going in on the background. You just silence them. If I don't have to look at it, Gmail, for example, if you want to start off, a starting point is pause your email box. So you've got your emails, you can pause it. You can pause it for a few minutes. You can pause it for an hour and then get back to it. I know there's going to be a question that'll come up. What about urgent matters? Well, that seldom happens. And if I have my inbox off for an hour or 2 hours, I really haven't seen anything too urgent that has to have that second that I have to be on it. And if there is, luckily, I do have somebody that is monitoring my inbox. So anyways, once I get all those distractions out of the way, I can concentrate on doing what I need to do. And then you've got to get the other things out of the way as well. So when do you do your B and C tasks? Those are important. And a lot of the time, stress happens is when you don't get those out of the way. So I will slot time during the day to make sure that C tasks are usually things I can get 20 or 30 done very quickly. Just those are yes, no answers, click. I got to make a decision where I'm going to do something or not. B tasks are a bit more, it might be for later on down the week. It might be a decision I have to make, a meeting I might have to set. But even my meetings typically are either set by Kelsey or by this EA. So I should also talk about what's the difference between, and yeah, go ahead.
For a second, we do have a special guest that is on right now, and you may recognize him if you're ready. Sorry if I'm interrupting you, but we have our Dr. Cause joining us.
Hey, how are you?
Norm, how you doing? Can you hear me well?
I can hear you. Excellent. How are you, sir?
So, Norm, to be very honest, this topic of productivity fascinates me because you have the spectrums where you have the Kevin Kings of the world that, in my mind, he does a lot himself, very organic, ground up, so to speak. And then you have the other philosophy where people sort of manage things, I would say, from an armchair situation. They have VAs and they are sort of in an executive role dealing with various HR issues. So then the HR resource and asset can then take care of the daily tasks and activities and responsibilities. And obviously the answer always comes up. It depends where you are, of course. If you're less than 6 figures, 7 figures, you could still probably pull it off yourself. Once you get to a certain, several million, then you'll need definitely some external help. And I think there's a transition point, and personally, I'm feeling it at the moment where I'm trying to, manage all that. But then there's the other vector, Norm, which gets me personally, and that is, does your personality fit with managing other people? Are you an introvert, extrovert? And that I don't think it's discussed enough because me personally, I've, managed many large groups in the past with various corporations and companies. But I've come to the point in my life where I'm thinking, you know what? I really don't want to be a HR manager. I want to just do everything myself, maybe have 1 or 2 trusted team members, and we could be lean and mean. We could move fast, get product out, design products, source and everything else, and keeping it in that realm. So the point then comes, I'm coming full circle, it really does depend, I believe, on your personality and what you actually really want to be doing with your time. And that's my point, Norm. I wanted to get your reflection on that and how you think that balances with, obviously growing and getting big and big. But end of the day, it really comes down to happiness. Are you really happy managing 10 VAs? Are you happy managing yourself and being content with enough growth, just enough to pay the bills, have a holiday, a vacation, et cetera, et cetera? So that's my point, Norm. I just wanted to get your feedback on that.
That's That's a really great question because when you go out there, everybody's got a different reason for getting involved with whatever they're doing. And so if you're a small seller and you want to keep it, very, very tight, that's fine. I still recommend that you create these automated systems for yourself or for somebody else. And even if you're growing at a slow pace, it's always great to be able to take those, probably 80% of tasks that you really don't want to do. They're repetitive and they're just a waste of your time.
Right.
Those one, if you got one person that you can go and you can just talk to, that's awesome.
Yes.
However, like in your situation, okay, that's we've struggled with that in different companies. So what do we do? Oh, you're having lunch with Norm.
Bagel, Norm. 9 o'clock is bagels and coffees, Norm. You see my messages, and it's real. I'm eating bagels, black
Perfect.
coffee, and it's lunch with Norm, but it's breakfast here in Los Angeles. So excuse me.
Well, cheers.
Oh, I just want to say, we do have Taylor. She's joined us.
Okay,
so
I just want to finish. I do want to finish answering
Yeah.
this question, Kels, because it is a very important one.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what do you do? So you don't like doing it. You don't want to be managing 30 different VAs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can either become a business development side of thing and hire an operations manager. That operations manager can take care of it. If you're actually growing the business, grow the business, work on your strengths. And that's the key when we're looking at doing anything, work on your strengths. I hate human resources.
Mm-hmm.
I hire a human resource person who's an expert to get me the right person.
Right.
If I want to grow my business, if that's your passion, it sounds like that's what you're doing, then you become the business development person, or you work with a business development person to really, get things going and get those ideas flowing. But at the end of the day, your person that's overlooking the VAs are going to be an operations manager and a really good person to look at who does an excellent job for us is over at PR Reach is Mana. A lot of people over here might have heard of Mana. She's our operations manager. She takes care of everything and she does a great job. And that's exactly what her role is just kind of managing all those writers and VAs that we have over there.
Yes. Yes.
So does that answer your question?
It does, Norm. It does. It does. But to be honest, I would just encourage people, and I don't hear this enough, understand yourself, understand what makes you happy. If managing operation managers, managing VAs makes you happy, great. If operating with 1 or 2 people, being content with that growth, less problems, less headaches, we sleep good at nighttime, which is what we all want to do, then that's excellent. And I think personally, I'm in the latter bucket where I'm content. I'm happy with some growth. I don't want to be getting calls, or managing my team, a trusted team. Very important to trust the team that you're with, and to keep plodding along, because I hear it so many times on the podcast realm. Let's grow, let's go back, let's go. But you know what? There's a price to that, and that is your sanity. Because we all want to sleep well at nighttime. We don't want problems. We want to make some money, but at a certain pace. And I think I want to take that message out. And our happiness is number one. We need to
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So
right.
For me, it's work on your strengths, not on your weaknesses.
Yes. Well, thanks, Norm. Keep doing the great work. You too, Kelsey. I'm watching.
All right.
See you later.
Awesome.
Thanks, Dr. Kaz.
Thanks so much, Dr. Kaz.
See ya.
Great to have you. All right. All right, awesome. So we got a little special guest there, but we do have Taylor here, and we'll get the show going right now. So do you want to do your little intro?
I
Just
will.
sit back, relax.
So now it's that time. So we do have Taylor that's coming on board, and we're going to be talking about product photography and how to make those images pop. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. And I didn't even have to get in the fetal position. So thanks to Dr. Kaz. Hey, how are you, Taylor?
I'm doing good with that.
You made it.
We made it. A little technical difficulties this morning, but hey, you jumped through hoops, right?
Did you go in the fetal position?
No.
Oh, good, good. So, hey, it's great to have you here. I think it was Marcia that talked to us about your services, and if any, excuse me, if anybody knows what Marcia's doing in her products and her website, you can see that she has incredible photography. So, anyways, I asked, and she said you did it all. So, anyways, let's talk about that. Why? So, a picture is not a picture. Just because you have an iPhone doesn't make you a photographer. Let's talk about the importance of product photography.
Well, first of all, Norm, thanks for having me. I'm a fan of your platform and the knowledge that you've created. You've created a massive library for so many business owners. So I appreciate being able to have a moment of time here. So thank you for that. And going back to your question, product photography, I remember back in college, one of my assignments was Wrigley's gum. And what made Wrigley's gum something that everybody wanted? And it was the story. It was the relatable piece that you wanted this gum with you because it was the hello. And that got me at the age of 20, like, okay, there's a personality here. Like I remember the little Wrigley's gum walking across the screen and saying hello. And it stuck with me. And my very first job was with a big product company, given a product and was like, how do you make a personality come out of a box? How can we make this relatable to thousands of people? And I think that's the part I love, is figuring out what is the personality of this product and how do we convey that and how do we get this across to the masses and make it creative. And of course, through technology, the last 20 years, we're able to do so much that it's really, I don't think there's a limit of what you can do with the product now and how you can bring it to life. So I love figuring out the personality of the product and also the personality of the person buying the product, because there's two pieces there that have to coexist.
All right. So if somebody sends you over a product, is it necessary to know the story behind the brand?
Not necessary, but I do like to know why. There's something about the why, and you were just talking about that. When you ask a client why, and I just did this last week when I asked a client, why did you create this product? And it was during him explaining his why about his granddaughter that put heart into it. Do you mean? So for me as an artist, that inspired me. Like, okay, so this product has nothing to do with his granddaughter. However, it was inspired through her. And there's just something as a creative that kind of ignites something inside of us. The team and I sat down, we mapped out what we were going to do for the video. The video got picked up for syndication, and it's now playing on the airwaves. But it was understanding that why. And when you look at the video, you would never see the why. But I think as a creative, for me, understanding the why, and you had mentioned Marcia, who created Stable Copper, was, I've worked with her before on other products, but it was asking her, what's your why? Like, why did you create this? And I think that centers around everything we do, is why do we do what we do? And it's telling a story. And it's how we tell that story that really sells a product.
So every product has a personality.
Every product. Yep. I'm going to even say even hemorrhoid cream has a story, has a personality.
Well, what about plastic shoe stretchers? So somebody comes to you and they give you a plastic shoe stretcher. And there's a reason for this question. It's a crappy product, cheap plastic, springs are no good. How can you make that product look better than it is?
One, I need to see the product and find out, what is its role? How does it make it? What's the user's game? What do they want at this product? Is it going to make their life more convenient? Can they get their shoes on faster? And then if their shoes go on faster, what's going on in their life that's allowing that to benefit them? As the dog gets up and needs to go potty, and putting their shoes on and tying it caused an accident, or is it, throwing the shoes on faster, they could get out the door? So it's kind of figuring out the role that product has to play and then building the personality around that.
A product photography has a photographer has a special talent. I've seen it. I've worked with product photographers, completely different than other photographers, completely different than amateurs who think they're professionals. Lighting, lenses, these are all things that have to come into play. Do you want to talk a little bit about the different types of lenses and lighting and everything that you need to make that product a perfect picture?
Oh, thank you for asking that question, because it is. It's lighting. It's all about the composition, the lighting. Bad lighting. It's like going to a movie that's not well lit, right? And it's hard to see the subject, and you're not even paying attention to the story because you're like, what's going on? How come I can't see the subject? Same thing with music. It's everything's a buildup. So when we map out creating a video, we're doing everything from what does this product need to look like? What's going on around the product? What kind of lens do we need to use? Is this a small product we need to make look big? So we're going to select a lens that's going to allow that. Is this more of a cinematograph product where we want emotional? So then we're going to use our cinematography lenses to do that. It's different cameras too. We have a plethora of cameras to kind of figure that out. Is there drone pieces that need to be in this to kind of elevate the product, showing that the product's actually in use out on the road? There's so much that goes into the planning phase of it, but we all start with the story and then the lighting. The lighting is the next thing. What in the lighting do we need to tell? Is it moody? Is it pop? Is it blown out? Like, what is that needs to come into play? And then setting up the lights around that. And when we do product photography, like you were saying, it's hours. We don't just set a product down, throw a light, throw a camera up and go click, click, click. It's set the product down, create the backdrop, and then light it. And how are we going to light it? Let's start there and then build up. What's the lens? What's the camera that needs to be attached? And then after that, through post, what's the story it needs to tell through music, through editing?
There are a lot of photographers out there. And the reason I'm jumping into this is we're going to get a lot of probably questions about price. And I can go over to Fiverr. I can send, photos, have them done in China, which I've done. And not bad, not bad, not great. And it depends on the photographer. But anyways, they're all over. The price points are all over. There's all sorts of places out there that do very quick. I've seen them at $10, $35. The way that I've always been brought up with product photography is that first you're paying for the expertise. You're paying for the camera, the studio. And a lot of the times I was paying for half studio, like half shoots for a day or full shoots. And what I'm finding now is, okay, it's $10 or it's $30 an image. And I can never figure out how a high quality professional photographer can make it with $10 a picture or $15 an image. They're just the cameras alone and the lenses alone are thousands of dollars. So can you explain to people, like when you're, and there are good, and I'm talking about good quality pictures. Kevin King was on, I don't know if you know him. He was on the other day and he talks about Mark, his photographer, and he'll spend $1,200 to $2,500 from start to finish on his product line. It's a cost. It costs money, and I just want to talk about that because I know that's going to come up for sure is the cost. How it's all over. It's how long is a piece of string? So how can you justify, paying a studio shoot compared to, $10 a picture?
It comes down to what you want in the quality. What do you really want? And I can look at a $10 photo and we can look at a $75 photo and see the difference. Mm-hmm. And it's really comes down to what the company can afford. And I've started with companies that are like, we've got a $25 budget per photo. Can we work there? And it's like, we can. However, what brought you to us? Well, this photo. Well, that's not a $25 photo. That's a $75 photo. And explaining to the customer and kind of educating them what goes into it. There's a little bit more story going on. There's better lighting. There's everything else that makes this photo look better took place. So there's a definite difference. I've been into studios where they just use iPhones and they're just using iPhones to take, thousands of photos of products on white background. And that's great. But then there's the next piece. We all know when we go look at a photo, we see the little dots at the bottom, we start scrolling. The first photo grabs us, right? Because we're looking for that product. That product's going to serve a need I have. The second product, the third photo, fourth photo, fifth photo, and then I see the video. And that's where we really stand apart is we tell our clients, when you hire us, not only are you going to get photos, we're going to give you a 10 to 15 second video that you're going to be able to use on your listing. Because if we can show a consumer how this product works or what makes it different, defines it, so that kind of justifies our price because we're going to give the client a little bit more. The other thing they get with us is communication. We're huge. My entire team and I are huge on communication and really being the best we can possibly be for that product and for that client. Because our end game, they don't go anywhere else. They stay with us and we get to grow with them, because every time we get to work with a client, we get to go deeper and deeper. And I always call it the stretch. I'm like, we're going to stretch. Now that we've got this relationship and you understand what we can do as creatives, we want to stretch this. And if we stretch too far, we can always take a step back. But if we don't show the client we can stretch and do things a little different on that level of upping it, then they're always going to live in that little box of, this is what I can get if I go to a different platform that's $10 or $15 an image. And our goal is to grow with the company. I've known Marcia for 10 years, and I think that's what I love, is being able to grow with a client. I've had a client for 18 years that every time she comes out with a new product, all she does is send it over, and she's like, I don't have to tell you what to do. You already know what to do. And there's that trust. So the communication, the trust we want to build with every brand we work with. And that kind of defines the price, because they know the value they're going to get from us is going to exceed anything they're going to get $10, $15 anywhere else.
And you can go on any search and you can see a flat image, an okay image, and a really great image. And typically those really great images will generate more sales, unless the title and everything else sucks, or if the product just sucks, then you'll get some bad listings, which is going to cause another problem. There's another person involved in product photography that doesn't usually get talked about, and that's a graphic artist. And the graphic, when we get in, maybe you won't agree with this, but when we get, and I can give you an example, when we do our product photography, the product photographer will send us over the images. We take a look at the images. We select whatever ones we want. And I'll give you an example of, we were doing this glass jar that had some liquid in it. Had a nice logo on the front. You could look through the glass jar and see all the instructions backwards in the background and even on the sides. So what we've done is we'll go over and we'll make sure that these are photoshopped so you don't see it. It doesn't distract from the actual image and the beauty of the image. Do you do things like that? Do you provide services like that?
Oh yeah, I'm super, super anal about that. We do have an amazing infographic person we work with that she's spot on. She gets what we need and is able to fix it. I have an amazing editor on my team that can look at a product and go, let's edit this and, take this one element out. And it is, when we look at a product, what's taking the eye away? When you look at this, what's distracting and not making this actually pop? And every time we create an image, our goal is, if this ends up on TV on a side of a bus, we want this to look perfect. I don't want to be at a bus stop and see a bus go by with my image and go, oh, why didn't we Photoshop that out? And I see it all the time. I'm like, why didn't they take that glare out of the bottle? That glare is distracting and taking away from the label.
What drives me crazy if I'm doing a search, let's say I'm looking for blankets. Let's say blankets. It's, something cotton. And you see these blankets and they've got all these wrinkles in it and they're not straight. Your image should be absolutely perfect, but some people don't realize that you can just get that extra editing done. Sometimes it costs as much as the image, but at the end of the day, that's your money shot. That is what's going to, drive sales. And you see, I use helium-10 X-ray at times, and I'll just kind of play around with it, and I'll take a look, and you'll see that might be a better product. However, it's got way less sales. If they just improved the logo or the image, it would have been that much better. Now,
I have to just jump in here really quick. My mom used to always say, you judge the book by the cover, right? And it comes down to photos. Sometimes if I'm doing a search for a product and the photos are low quality, I automatically think low quality product. Mm-hmm. This product's not the best. And so I'll scroll on to the next one.
Now, I forgot to ask you at the beginning. I hear that you have a giveaway. What is the giveaway today?
So we're going to give away one free product shot for somebody that you draw, and we'll give them an idea of what we do and how we make magic happen. And in that, there's going to be a little surprise of a little tiny video for them.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Now, I don't know anything about your pricing. I don't take affiliate fees or anything like that. We will talk about how to contact you, but anyways, I want to make sure people know that because we have you on here because I've heard great things about you and your photography. So guys, if you want, what is it, Kelsey? I'm not sure what the hashtag is.
Nice and easy. Hashtag we love Taylor.
Oh, there we go. We love Taylor. How's that? All right. How did I know that was going to be the hashtag? It seems like Kelsey comes up with that all the time. Not always I love Taylor, though, but whoever the guest is. All right. So if you're interested in the photo shoot, you just put in hashtag I love Taylor and you'll be entered. And if you tag us tag 2 people in here, we'll give you an extra drawing. All right. One of the other things that I think we should talk about is the storyboard. Do you find this? There's a lot of people that'll go and they'll take a front shot, a side shot, a back shot, the product on its side, the product with the lid open with capsules spilling out if it's a supplement or something. They don't tell a story about their product and they wonder why they don't get sales.
All the time. And again, it's going back to the personality of the product, right? What's this product's story? What do they want to say? And are they playful? Are they serious? What's the end game? Who's the user of this product? And that comes down to the storyboard. The very top of our storyboard, we've written out in big bold, who's our target? Who do we need to attract with this? What's our avatar? Then build the story around that, because it doesn't make sense to do a storyboard and build a story around a shot list unless we know where we're going. And I think that's a part of why I love being in the marketing meetings. And now with Zoom, we have clients all over the world that were able to join their marketing meetings. I'm like, I just want to be a fly on the wall, because something could be said in your marketing meeting that will translate visually in an amazing way. But if we're not in the room and we don't hear that, then that kind of shortens what we can actually create. And the one thing about my personality is I don't ever want to be limited on what we can create, and it's, we were given a product a couple months ago that, again, send 4 products. It's got to have a perfect label. Don't send it just one bottle, because if it gets scuffed, we have to have, more bottles.
Right.
So send us and really look at the product, make sure it's pretty labeling. And all they wanted was everything shot on with just white. And I was like, that's not the story of this product. This product is for a woman that's 16 to 85 years old, and it's going to keep them safe. And me shooting this on white on all the different sides isn't going to tell the story, and that's where we had to go back to the client and go, we're going to go a little bit deeper, spend a little bit more time on this. And once we were done, we created just a small little video of just showing who would be using this product. Someone walking their dog alone, someone walking to their car alone. And putting that little video on the end, they're like, hey, our sales tripled because of that. And I'm like, because now everybody knows who this product's for and how it's going to keep somebody safe. And now it's going to be something you're going to want to give everybody to help your loved ones stay safe. And I think that's a part of the storyboard piece, is realizing who's the end game, who's the user of this product, who's buying this, and then build the story around it. And I feel like most times it takes just a few more minutes in a marketing meeting to realize, okay, we're not telling the story just on a white background. They're not going to get that. So let's figure this piece out.
On that storyboard, what are you looking for? Are you going after benefits, features, instructions, directions? What are the things that you're looking for to make it more engaging?
All of that. I think it's knowing the features the product has, the benefits, what makes this product different than the other 9 bottles that it might be on the shelf or available if I'm doing a Google search for this product, or I'm on Amazon. What's making this product stand out that's different? And the content, what's being written out in the text. Is there something in that text that actually would translate great in a visual element? And if so, let's create it. So it's really, I feel like we take a lot of data in. And I always tell my clients, 80% of our work is data collecting and going through all this. 20% is picking up the camera and actually sitting down and doing the shoot of the product. But it's really, truly understanding why someone wants this product. Because right now, I feel like when you go out there, there's 15 products for one piece, right? I've got one problem. Let's use toothpaste as an example. Every time I go to get toothpaste, I'm inundated by the wall of toothpaste. Which one do I want? So it's the story piece, what's visually grabbing me, what's on the box that's speaking to a problem I have. So it's all the benefits, the features, it's basically everything based around that product is going to help us create images that will help it sell.
Do you ever look at the Amazon copy or the images or the website to grab information?
All the time. All the time. It's a huge resource. And then we go look at their competition. Who's your competition? What are they saying? What are they doing? We love looking at old bad reviews from the product we're working with and from competition, because there's a lot of data in those bad reviews of, okay, something wasn't said here. If someone's complaining about something, let's have a solution to it. And let's figure out, if someone's complaining they didn't know X, Y, and Z, then let's show it. And then there won't be a complaint anymore.
One of the things, it was Diane Bolster that came up with this idea, and I love it. But in your images, and also in your bullet, but if you reflect the bullet in the image, and don't write a book when you're putting copy on your image, just a few words, but also have that unique word. And she'll just make up words, for that plastic shoe stretcher. It might be tectonic, whatever, tectonic strength, the only plastic shoe stretcher known to have tectonic strength. And she'll use that. And then all of a sudden the image will have, number one in tectonic technology or something like that. And that just, it's different than those 10 other people who are selling the same plastic shoe stretcher.
Right. And again, it comes down to what makes it different. What's going to make it stand out from the crowd?
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing, there's people who use stock photography, and usually poorly, because it'll be some woman in the bath that's already in everybody else's photos, that has a bar of soap 5 times too big for her hand, or a true influencer, somebody that's providing social proof that they love the product. I don't know about you, but I think every Amazon listing, for the most part, should have at least one piece of social proof. What do you think?
Oh, I totally agree with that. It is. We buy off of who bought it, who's using it, and sometimes it doesn't have to be a big influencer. I just need to see someone I can relate to using this product.
Right. Yeah, it could be free. You could ask somebody on an insert card to, tag you, just tag me. And then you've got a couple of free images that you could use. All right. Hey, Kelsey, is there any questions?
Oh yeah, we got tons coming in. So yeah, we can just jump into those. Let me see. Okay, from Darren, how do Amazon photography differ from Shopify? Is there a difference?
I feel like Shopify, you have a little bit more freedom.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, we have a little bit more freedom for creativity. Amazon, we've got to kind of follow their guidelines. And Shopify has some guidelines, but as far as colors and lifestyle and things like that, we've got more playroom with Shopify. Amazon, we can do that after we've created the standard, white on white background and kind of just the piece that's going to match everybody else.
Yeah, and Amazon is much better now because of the different A+ templates that they have as well. And I love this, the stores, taking advantage of the stores and what you can do, especially for a product description. What you can't do on your product listing, you can have it as a level or two deep, and you can have a really incredible product listing on your store on Amazon. So it's not like Shopify. Shopify, you've got all that. You're much more free. As long you just have to dig a little deeper in Amazon to have that freedom, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. How do you protect photos? How to protect photos copyrighted after you post them on Amazon? If my brand name is not printed on my product, I will pay for photos, and my competitors will often steal them.
What a nightmare that is. And I've run into that with a couple of clients, and actually going after them and, really partnering with Amazon to say, hey, they've lifted this photo. They've taken it from another listing. So Norm, you probably have a little bit more background on that, but it happens all the time.
Yeah. One of the things that we'll try to do is try somehow have the logo in there or have the brand in there. It could be on the package. It could be something that would show that it is different. I'll give you an example. I guess this is against TOS technically, but I sell soap, and on the soap, on the actual soap, it'll say the brand name, but I can't stamp it and take a good picture. It just won't happen. Right. So I digitally watermark it and put it on there. I've never had Amazon come back and say, you're suppressed or anything for that, but it's not technically, it's not kosher. But if you do have something like that, then you can get those stolen images down because it's got your logo on it and you are the brand owner. So kind of keep that in mind. It is a pain in the butt if you don't. If it's just a generic photo, you're going to have real struggles because it's an open marketplace.
Yeah.
Now on your website, that's a whole different story.
Let's see, from Jeffrey, what do you do for lifestyle photo props? For example, if your product attaches to another item.
If we don't want to advertise the other item, we kind of hold it off out of screen, jimmying and showing it being attached that way. So it's kind of figuring out what that item is, what it does need, what's attaching to. Like we did a bike rack for a car, but we had to be very careful how we showed how it was attaching and all of those. So it's just figuring out what we can show, what the client's comfortable showing, and we can't give away, sell another product for that attachment. So it can be done. We do it all the time. It's just figuring out the angles and how we're going to photograph and film it.
The other thing you can do too is have a ghost image. So you can just have a draft drawing in there. So let's say my little garden gnome, you don't want to show the hat, but you can show the blue shirt it's wearing, which is right here, by the way. So there he is. So anyways, you could just make a drawing, and it could be very generic, Jeffrey. I think I know what you're talking about. And if that doesn't answer your question, I think it does. But if it doesn't, I know we're going to be talking later on today anyways. So anyways, I think that'll do. That should work anyway. Or what you can do is have an image zoomed in on what you're attaching. And then you can just explain it. Like you can have an arrow pointing down and just saying what you're doing. So it's more of an instructional infographic. So, and that's 100% okay. It's, TOS, no problem.
We call it the IKEA example. Give an IKEA drawing, keep it very basic and simple, and then attach the photo to it.
Okay, let's see. Oh, I also want to mention, if you guys are interested in leaving a review for our podcast, I'm going to be putting a link in the description of the group and the Facebook page and YouTube and stuff. But it's basically a link for our Facebook page, our review section there. So if you enjoy the podcast, if you're a beard buddy, go on and leave a little review over there. That would be great. We really appreciate it. Okay, next question from Tony, is Amazon allowing 3D rendering pictures on the first image or other images?
Nope. People do it all the time. Technically, it's against TOS. How much risk is associated with it? Like I just mentioned, I have that watermark in. But yeah, you're technically not supposed to be putting 3D rendering in. So, but sometimes there's no other way around it. I can't see it anyways on certain products. But that's your answer, Tony.
And let me see, from Marcia, Taylor, whose work has most influenced your work?
Marcia's.
Well, Marcia's heart has very much influenced me. When it comes down to my work, I always think of Annie Leibovitz and Ron Howard. I feel like Annie Leibovitz really understands how to take a portrait photographer, and I did that for years, and I still do portrait photography. And Ron Howard knows how to tell a story. And I think those two have influenced my work, because regardless if I'm doing, a lifestyle shoot, a portrait shoot, or a product shoot, it's figuring out, what's the emotional connection here? How am I going to connect to this? Because if it's a bar of soap, I can have an emotional connection to it. Let's remember the Old Spice guy. We all connected to him, right? There was, regardless if you were a man or had a man in your life, and it's that emotional piece. And I think that comes down to all products. So it's, I always draw on those two as my influence for that piece, and then really finding out what's the heart and who are we talking to, and let's bring that forward.
Very good.
Okay, and this one is from Victor. Taylor, what is your opinion regarding direction of the model's gaze, looking at the lens versus not doing that? I know this depends on the product or advertising intent, but in general for Amazon lifestyle images.
It really comes down to, I hate to say it, but it comes down to their own personal gaze, right? Some models can do a really good gaze and some can't. Does the gaze fit what you're trying to tell too? Again, going back to that storyboard and that piece. And there's times that we feel like, okay, the client should be looking off to the side. We were just doing a commercial shoot last week in San Francisco, and we really had gone into the storyboard thinking this client was looking off to the side. And when we got there, I'm like, we're going to go ahead and film that. But I think at the end, this model needs to actually look at the camera and say this line out of the text. And when we did that, we went back and looked at it in post. That's the piece that spoke to us. So again, on a shoot, we're not just going to be limited. If something really speaks or we feel like we need to change, we're going to change on the dime to figure that out. So it really comes down to when we're looking at things in post, if that model's gazing off, do I feel disconnected? Am I wondering what she was looking at? Did my thought just leave what the product is? If that's the case, that's not the right image.
That's interesting. That is really, I never thought about that. But if the person's thinking about your product, are they using it? Are they satisfied with it? Where are their eye positions? If they want to give you a direct message looking into the camera. And again, I guess that's up to the photographer, but that was a very good question.
That was.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious, what are the costs? Is there a range of costs for models through you?
There is, and we use a bunch of different agencies, so we try and figure out, what's the budget for the client. Sometimes we can find free models if I say, hey, if you throw them a couple pieces of your product, I've got someone that's, that I've worked with that would be great, and she'll take product and trade, or he'll take product and trade. So it kind of, we always go back to the budget. What's your budget for this? And then we kind of go through our own talent roster that we have. We work with, like I said, we work with a bunch of agencies so we can figure out, does it require someone that has acting ability?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to lose production time with us trying to coach somebody to say the lines and to go through this? Or is it going to save you money in the long run to hire someone that actually knows how to hold a bottle? Not everybody knows how to hold a bottle. Not everybody knows how to hold a product. So,
or eat the Wrigley's gum.
Right? Yes, and chew it without looking like
that
a
was
horse.
a technique. That was that was a technique they had. Yeah, I remember that. Yep. All right, Kels. Oh, okay, Kelsey, Zoolander
yes.
pose.
On command.
All right.
Okay, Dr. Cause, for lifestyle photo or lifestyle shots, I heard from psychology experiments that having a real human in the shot has a significant advantage. Do you agree?
I totally agree. We know a model from a model, and we know someone that's Becky next door. And I think, again, it comes down to, we use a lot of people in our own little circle of saying, hey, just last night I was looking at a family photo of a long distance cousin. I'm like, how far does she live from me? Because she would be awesome for the shoot we have planned. And I can see her using this product. And again, it's relatable, right? Because and when I shot her a text and said, would you actually use this product? She says, oh, I would totally use it. She's going to be a great model for that shoot because it's relatable. And we want her to relate. And I think we're seeing that more and more in social media and on our feeds. We want that relatable piece. I want to know who else is using this product. Do they drink coffee like me? Do they ride bikes like me? What's that relatable piece? And it comes down to the relationship, so that I want to buy this product because they're using it.
Yeah, just think of a clean-shaven guy buying beard oil. I'm not
right?
gonna buy it.
Right. No.
Okay, let's see. So I also want to mention, if you haven't yet, please smash those like buttons. We really appreciate it. And we do have our Patreon. So if you ever want to buy me and Norm a cup of coffee, there's a couple options there. Also just helps support the podcast. So I'll put the descriptions or the links in the description box. But on to our next question.
It's more like hot chocolate for Kelsey.
This is from Clive. Typically, how long would it take to do the photos and the editing for one product for an Amazon listing?
You know, I hate to say it, and my editor is going to kill me for this, but we can usually turn things around in 72 hours if there's a rush. You know, we don't work weekends. We work, you know, Monday through Friday. So it depends on when we get the product, but we do try and turn things around within 72 hours. If the storyboard's there and we feel like we've got the data we need to create some good images.
How long, I'm curious here, to set up proper lighting, let's say it was the garden gnome, okay, or the plastic shoe stretcher, to set up lighting, how long would that take?
It could take anywhere from a half hour to 2 hours.
Right.
It really comes down to, we light it, we step behind the camera and look at it and go, okay, do we see all the details? Are we missing any details in this? You know, and we throw it up on a big screen where we're shooting it and going, okay, let's take one photo and see if we're missing, and then move the product, move the light. Is there a shadow that's competing? You know, sometimes it's great to have a shadow. Sometimes the shadow takes away from the product. So it's all based around that. And it's usually, that's the longest part of that shoot, is setting up the lighting and getting it exactly where we want it. And sometimes it's a micro, like move the light 2 centimeters and it's great. Or it's move it 2 feet, throwing it up overhead. So the lighting is the key piece, and I'm super anal about that, making sure everything's well lit, and then really looking at the product and making sure my eye is not leaving. And I think a part of what I love about photography is there's a psychology piece to it, right? It's all of a sudden am I pulled in? Why do we pick up magazine covers? Why do we pick up album covers? You know, it's all about the image, and it spoke to us and it had an emotion to it. So again, even if it's being photographed on a white background, what's the connection that's going to make me stop and actually look at this product? And sometimes it's the angle and the lighting, and just figuring out that magic piece. So it does take time. Once we've got that dialed in, then we start humming.
We shot some garden shears. We took over this listing, and the garden shears, it wasn't a terrible photograph of the original primary image. The garden shear was there. Actually, it was we duplicated the hand model with the garden shears, and the lighting was flat. The metal was, because it was a titanium or a carbon steel, it was dark, and then you could see the handle. Then we took a picture through a professional photographer, basically the same hand, but the steel was steel gray, and the spring, like any of the metal, were that silver metal look. But the most important thing was the rim of light that highlighted the handle just on the top and on the bottom. It gave it shape. And you can also see that, and sometimes you have to get your graphic artist to do this, but on supplements or something that's in a cylinder, you can have a very flat shot. Most people, oh, that's a nice shot. You add that rim of light going down the sides to give it that reach out, and you can touch it. That makes a world of difference. So the reason why I asked about the lighting is it might take you that half hour to 2 hours, and then you might have to change the whole lighting around, especially if you've got a model in there and now you're doing the hand model shop. So a lot of people, when they think, oh, I'll get this for $10 or $15, they don't realize the time that's put into lighting with a true product photographer.
Well, yeah, thank you for pointing that out, because there is such variations of photography, right? And photographer's skill set. And it is all about the lighting. It's about backlighting it. It's about top lighting it. It's about bottom lighting it. And we had a can.
Nope, we lost you. Nope, we lost you.
Can you, I don't know what happened.
Oh, you're back. You're back. There we go.
Sorry about that. But it was figuring out the lighting of it and then realizing we wanted it on a sheet of water, right? Because it's lemonade. We wanted to have this reflection. Well, we spent 2 hours setting up the lighting, and as soon as we brought that element in, everything had to be scratched with lighting and start over. And that's the piece that, as an artist, I think there's a skill set in there as an artist, as a visual artist, of what makes this more compelling. And we gave the client both shots, and the client fell in love with the one with the reflection. It was like, that to me speaks to the high level product I want my client, my consumer to see. But again, it's there's so much involved in it, as you know, and it's truly all those elements that when it comes together and you get the product, and then it's up on the website, it's up on e-commerce or Amazon, and the client sees it. There's that moment of pride of all their hard work is paid off for this product, and they're seeing it how they truly saw it in their head. Because I think anytime someone creates a product, they've already visually kind of seen how they want it to be. And then, standing true to that and then kind of stretching it and getting it out there where it now speaks to the consumer.
Right. Okay, Kels, more questions.
Yeah. Taylor, do you have cutoff time today? We're reaching the top of the hour.
I'm good. I'm good for the next 30 minutes.
Sorry.
You want that hot chocolate now, don't you?
Just a second.
So this is where we usually go into song.
All right.
You're back.
I'm sorry. Norm, can you take this?
Yep, I can. I can. All right. What shouldn't be in the picture to avoid looking? Oh my gosh, my eyes. To avoid looking salesy. Badges, stamps. Go ahead.
Like
Kels.
buy now, get one free.
What should be in the photo?
Avoid. So like in Amazon, like any badges, like what are some mistakes that people make in their photos?
I think putting badges on that compete with the product and take the attention away. Do you mean when I look at the photo, I'm now not even looking at the product. Now I'm over here looking at this. And I think that's, when we run into that, we always kind of go, okay, we got to delicately dance around how we get this removed, because it is taking the attention away from that.
Okay. Yeah, and it is important that there's a thin line. What's salesy, and what am I trying to say here? You can show somebody using the product, you can show all the features and all the benefits, but if you're like that midnight infomercial, then there's a problem. I think that's the best way to talk about it.
When there's that big arrow, buy me, buy me, buy me.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
flipping
about.
Around, buy me. And I always go back to my clients and go, people want to buy. Don't sell to them. People want to buy. Take that away and you're going to sell more products. But when you start saying, buy me, buy me, buy me, guess what? I went onto your competition and bought there.
Yeah. The other thing I hear a lot of, but I've also suffered the consequences of putting 100% guaranteed satisfaction in the 6th or 7th spot. So Amazon has suppressed my listings, many of them, for having that. So you're not supposed to have it in your bullets. You're not supposed to have that in your images. And, the algorithm, I don't know how, but they picked it up. So just one of the things you don't want to do, I know a lot of people do, and you'll hear a lot of podcasts say, put 100% guaranteed satisfaction. But I've just found that it's just a matter of when, not if, they're going to catch on that.
Well, and don't you find people, I always go back to the reviews. Like even if they say 100% guaranteed, I always go look at the reviews first and how many people are really happy with this product.
Right. Yeah. Okay, Kels.
Okay. From Simon, how do you prevent reflections on products, for example, eyeglasses?
Lighting, setting up the light so it's not in the shot. If it's in the shot, Photoshop, and we have an amazing editor, Zach can remove any glare, anything. I mean, on cars, you name it, he can remove the glare.
Okay, and from Olga, what's your thinking on how much to spend on photography for your first product? Considering that we don't know if it would be a successful product or not, should we invest in a basic package to begin with?
I love that question.
That's a great question. And again, I've had clients come to me and go, this is a brand new product. We don't have a lot to put in it. What's the smallest package we can come up with? And we do have our standard packages, but 90% of it we customize and we figure out, okay, I just had a client come to me. It's like, I have an incredibly small budget for this. What can you do? And I'm like, let's figure out what we can do for time, because we're all, we don't work for free. So what could we get done in an hour? Yeah. And start there. And if you're happy with what we do and your return on investment comes back, that you're selling this, then come back to us and take a part of that, return, what you're bringing in, and let's build your budget up. Let's build your budget up so we can actually build what we can do up. We can always start at the bottom and work our way up with you. And again, that comes down to the longevity we work with a client is we want to work with them forever. We don't want to go chase, and knock on 1,000 doors. We want to really work with clients that go, okay, here's the value I'm getting. Here's what I'm getting. And now I got my money back on that shoot. Now I can throw, a couple $100 more towards the next shoot. I can grow that way. And that's truly, we love seeing that take place.
Yeah, and there's probably a lot of newer Amazon sellers listening to the podcast as well. But probably if this is your first product and you're just testing it out, get a good shot. You don't have to get an excellent shot. You're testing it out. You're going to be paying your Amazon tax. So you're going to be making mistakes. And if you're going to spend a lot of money on a photo shoot just to find out that your listing might fail because of other things, just test it out. Test the waters out. Go in with a toe. You don't have to go in with 2 feet. I'd love to say it like when I'm talking about my products, but I've launched and relaunched and launched, but just dabble first. And my first listing, I went through school for film and photography. So, and I took my own photos and I put them up there at the beginning, but I ended up going to a professional product photographer afterwards because they ended up not being that great. And I started off by the iPhone. So I started off taking a couple of just quick shots. I set up a white tent or what's it called? A light tent. And then I had a round table, that would be automatic, that it would just to rotate the product. There are things that you can do on your own if you don't want to spend the money right now. But even what you said, as a product photographer, there are lower end product photography packages that you can invest in just to get the ball rolling. But it's completely up to you as a new seller to either your toe, your foot, or 2 feet.
Right.
Okay. From Victor Taylor, for upscale photos or upscale products, do you have access to high-end residences for the shoot?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Manny, what's your opinion on good photos? Are they the same as the opinion on PicFu? So I guess, how does it rank?
I'm not from.
So,
Do you know
Manny,
PicFu?
are you talking about the opinions that you get on a photo? Whether a product photographer would have a different opinion compared to the demographic on PicFu? If that is the case, so. Okay, so I might think that I just have the perfect photograph. And this happened with some hair serum we were promoting. And there was one that had one angle of the hair serum, a second angle of the hair serum, and then the box with the hair serum. I thought the box and the hair serum looked great. It filled the frame. But when I put it on PicFu came back and said the one that I hated, not hated, but the third option was the one to go with. So, sometimes unless you do get that second opinion, and that's why you'll get, a set of photos, you can take that set and you can put it on PicFu to see what your demographic likes or doesn't like. So do you have anything to add to that, Taylor?
No, I think it's the same thing. And again, social media is always the social proof. We throw things out there on social media and see what picked up. We'll do that with clients too and say, let's test this and see who's sharing this, who's liking this image more. Because again, it could just be like you were saying, it could be in the box, it could be out of the box. What does the audience want to see? What do they connect with? Because again, it comes into that emotional connection. What do they like?
Perfect. All right, we're going to roll down to a couple of last questions. However, if you do want to join the giveaway today, which is a photo shoot, hashtag We Love Taylor, and you'll get entered. And if you tag us with 2 people on the in the comments right now, you'll get a second entry. So, Kels, there's a couple more questions, and then I have one last one.
Okay, so we'll do 2 questions from the audience, and then you can.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. From DK Kim, what are your thoughts about full 3D rendering services without photo shoot comparing to the actual photo shoots? Pros and cons.
It depends on the product and if it needs it. I mean, we do it as same thing. If it's too flat and we can't bring that 3D piece in and really show the relatable piece, and or is the element inside? So is what's making this product different inside a casing, a shell casing that you can't see? Then yes, that 3D rendering is going to be important to show that. Honda, uh, same thing when Honda created motorcycles, was really struggling getting his motorcycle to take off. And when he started doing renderings, what made his engine different through drawings, guess what? People fell in love with the product and started buying Honda motorcycles. So it comes down to, is there something here that's we can't tell just by a photo? So we use it when it's needed, and it's going to really help the product stand out or show the element that is hidden.
Okay, and let me see our last one.
Mm-hmm.
Our last question we'll do from Nicholas. If you had to choose between a pro photographer and a pro graphic artist, who would work on your MEF pictures? Which would you go for?
Well, if you're asking me,
Mm.
I'm going to say find a pro photographer that has a great infographic person that they work with, because that there's no lag time. That there's a great communication between the two of them. They get what the client wants and they work faster. There's a lot of photographers out there that don't work with infographics. I, however, like to have a team that I know, like, and trust, that when I work with and I shoot them a product, I kind of move to the top of the list of their other clients, because they're like, hey, Taylor just sent me this. I have this great relationship with her. I want to keep it going. So I'm going to get this done right away for her. And I think that, and I work with infographics I trust that I know are going to do a great job and not, take the client for a ride.
And one of the things, first of all, Nicholas, I like the combination of both. One thing to remember, especially when you're working with a graphic artist, you really want to make sure that the aesthetics of the brand come across, or you're not using, I've seen some really bad infographics where, all of a sudden you've got 5 different fonts in there. They're all over the place, all different sizes, spacing's all out of whack. And it just looks, you've got a great photograph you provide, but the the graphic artist just doesn't get it. So it is important to find a bit of both. And if you can find a photographer and a graphic artist or an editor all in one, that's even better. So hopefully that answers your question. So I do have one last question. And this comes, what are the do's and don'ts of product photography? And do you have any action steps that people can take? So there's 2 questions.
What are the do's and don'ts?
Yeah. So if somebody's doing this themselves, what do they have to be careful of?
Don't over push the product. I've seen some clients feel like they got to get super close to the product to make it work, and they'll shoot it, and it's filling too much of the frame, right? Negative space sells a product as well. So you want to fill the frame, but negative space allows the eye to stay on a product as well. So don't feel like, you've got this bottle and from the top to the bottom, you need to fill it. And, take a couple different angles, step back and really look at this and go, hey, if I actually leave a little negative space on the left, it's causing me really to stay on the product. So again, look at your eye where it's falling, have your handful of people that you trust to look at the product and go, yeah, on this photo I stay with it longer. Or there's, and like you were saying, there's other platforms out there you can share an image and test it, but don't overthink it. Go in and just say, hey, and then look at other lines that are similar to yours or other products you like, and look at the angle of the photo. How was this shot? And I helped a client that had product that could not get to my hands. It would have cost almost $500,000 to get the product to my hands. And so, and because of COVID, she was like, is there a way we can figure this out? And we did it through Zoom. I was like, you can hire me and I can teach you how to do this through Zoom. And we're going to teach you how to light it. We're going to teach you how to photograph this product, because again, you're not going to spend $500,000 to send me a product to shoot. And and she was able to do it. And through it took us about 3 weeks to get her skill level where it needed to be. But she actually, when we were done, I'm like, that's a shot that I could actually say I did. So you did a great job doing that. So it's actually being able to teach, someone how to do that. So, but again, how she was going at it, she was overthinking it. And I was like, step back, step away from this and actually look at other products that are similar to this. And I'll figure out the lighting of it. You can show me a product and I can figure out how it's lit. And then let's set your lights up like that and kind of work through that piece of it.
All right. Last question. How do people get a hold of you? What's the best way?
The best way is either to go to my website, taylorboone.com, and that's Taylor, TaylorBoone.com, or on Instagram at One Taylor Boone.
One Taylor Boone. Okay.
One Taylor Boone. Yeah. There's other Taylor Boones out there apparently on Instagram.
Okay. So Kels, what is the time?
All right. You know what time it is.
I do.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right.
It's the Wheel of Kelsey time.
It is.
I think this is our record for the most entries we've had on the podcast.
Wow.
Yeah. So I am shuffling everyone's names for those who entered 2 people.
I can't even read it. I couldn't read the question before. How am I going to read this?
Yeah. So if you take 2 people, we gave you an extra vote. But yeah, let's do it. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, who is it?
Darren.
Darren. All right. Congrats, Darren. A photo shoot.
Okay. Congratulations.
How does he claim his prize?
All right. So I guess if he can email me at k@lunchwithnorm.com, I'll connect Darren to Taylor, and then we could figure out that from there. But yeah, I'll send an email and we'll figure it out.
All right. Fantastic. So Taylor, thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you both for having me. And thank you for your patience getting on here.
Oh, no problem.
No problem.
We got to talk about something completely different.
All right.
All
And
right.
if you want to just stick around, we'll end the live. And then if you want to just stay in the broadcast, if you have nowhere else to go, we can talk after the podcast too. Thank you. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
All right. So I hope everybody enjoyed the podcast today. You learned a little bit about productivity as well as product photography. Kelsey, do you have anything coming up?
Okay. So do you want to talk about next week's or Wednesday's guest?
Yeah. So we've got Sumner Hobart coming on, and YouTube star Summer Hobart, I should be saying, and his wife, and Allie. So it's both Sumner and Allie that are coming on. So they're teaming up on this, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, they're going to be talking about their husband and wife relationship and how they've worked as a team with their business, as well as they are they're living abroad too. So they're going to tell us about their experience and maybe other people can, if they like that kind of lifestyle, what they can do to do what they're doing.
And they'll drop a few nuggets too.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
We need
What's that?
Fatia's comment. We need a clip of you dancing along with the music.
Yeah, that'll happen. There we go. He's coming down this weekend, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. What are you gonna say? Why you interrupt? Go ahead.
So I haven't posted it yet, but for those of you in the Facebook group, we're looking for a little FAQ, some people to answer some questions. So I'm going to put a post in the Facebook group, but if you're interested in helping us out, comment in this section on the Facebook group. We're just looking for people to ask some questions to help.
We've got
group.
the questions actually.
Yeah. So we want to develop like an FAQ, and we need others to post it for us because we don't want to post our own questions. So if you're interested, look out for that post in the Facebook group. Let's see, Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and E-commerce Collective. And is it on Wednesday? Yes, the Sumnar and Ali are coming on Wednesday.
Yeah. Now, are you
And
going to
if-
allow me to do my thing?
Nope, not yet. And if you do have a guest suggestion, you can send it to me at kateatlunchwithnorm.com. We're always looking for great people for the show. So Amazon, e-commerce, we love it. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Now?
No.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Central Time, Eastern Standard Time. And thank you for watching today's show. I hope you learned something. Thank you for being part of the community, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Lunch with the